countries with unique and extraordinary realities. But few know that in a very small country, with an unpronounceable name, considered by many to be the richest in the world, there are traditions as unusual as the one known as the culture of well-being, whereby its inhabitants bathe in spas and saunas without any clothes on. In this new video from Uncensored World, we will learn more about Liechtenstein, one of the most unknown yet fascinating countries on the planet. Liechtenstein, a country so small that it can be explored in a couple of hours, with a soccer team where all the players are amateurs. A place with more cars and businesses than people, but without a single McDonald's, where people earn an average of over $100,000 a year and pay almost no taxes, something that is also related to that culture of well-being that you will soon discover. A nation with unique curiosities such as being one of the largest producers of dentures in the world, being the only country in the world located entirely within the Alps, and having had to change its national flag after realizing at the Olympic Games that it was identical to that of Haiti. Pay attention and don't miss this video, because we assure you that everything in it will surprise you. Let's get started. In the heart of Europe, hidden by the highest and most imposing mountains of the old continent, lies Liechtenstein, one of the smallest countries in the world in terms of size, but a giant in terms of the wealth of its people and its curiosities. An enigmatic territory with a unique geography, it is the only country in the world located entirely within the magnificent Alps, giving it a spectacular landscape of mountains, valleys, and alpine rivers. Liechtenstein borders Austria to the north and east, and Switzerland to the south and west, a reality that has a lot to do with its language and history, as you will now see. The official language of the country is German, although many people also speak English and the Swiss German dialect. Liechtenstein has a curious modern history because, despite its tiny size, it has managed to maintain its sovereignty and status as a principality for centuries, thanks to political agreements and royal marriages that strengthened its independence from larger neighbors. Liechtenstein has a fascinating history dating back to the Middle Ages. Originally, the region was made up of small communities and fiefdoms that depended on local nobles and the Holy Roman Empire. At that time, it did not exist as an independent country but as a group of territories linked to aristocratic families. The Principality of Liechtenstein was officially created in 1625 when the Liechtenstein family acquired the domains of Vaduz and Schellenberg. This union allowed the family to obtain sovereign status within the Holy Roman Empire, becoming a recognized principality, and thus ensuring its independence. It was one of the first times in human history that such a small territory had been consolidated as a country, thanks to the vision of this family. For centuries, Liechtenstein remained a small but strategic territory, surrounded by Austria and Switzerland. The princely family maintained political and economic control, avoiding major conflicts and taking advantage of its neutrality. This neutrality allowed it to survive and develop despite its tiny size, becoming one of the most powerful countries. In the 19th century, Liechtenstein began to orient itself increasingly towards Switzerland in economic and political terms. It abandoned the Austrian currency, adopted the Swiss franc, and strengthened trade agreements with its neighbor, ensuring its growth. Despite being a microstate, it established itself as a sovereign country, protected by international treaties, and its reputation as a neutral territory. After the First and Second World Wars, it was not occupied or absorbed by neighboring countries. The princely family continued to play a role, but at the same time, democratic institutions were developed that balance power between the prince and the national parliament, allowing the country's day-to-day decisions to be made democratically. Today, Liechtenstein combines some of these traditions with modernity. Its system of government is a constitutional principality, where the prince retains important powers, but the country is administered with democratic participation. This has allowed for political stability and the perfect environment for businesses, companies, and residents. One of the most surprising aspects of this tiny country is its economy, since despite having only 160 square kilometers, the country is considered one of the richest in the world. The gross domestic product per capita, which is the indicator of how much people in the country earn annually, exceeds 120,000 US dollars, or in other words, on average, each person earns more than 120,000 US dollars per year, placing it among the highest in the world. Added to this are very low taxes and a very low value-added tax, which also makes the country particularly attractive to businesses. This is surely the reason why, strange as it may seem, there are more registered companies than inhabitants in Liechtenstein, and surprisingly also more cars than people. With a permanent population of around 40,000, the number of registered companies ranges from 48,000 to 84,000. As for vehicles, it is estimated that there is more than 1.5 cars per person in the country, another curiosity that reflects the economic prosperity and high standard of living of its residents. A curious and little-known industry in Liechtenstein is the production of dentures. The country is one of the world's leading producers of dentures, a detail that may surprise many. This activity not only generates income, but has also brought the country international fame within the dental sector. The daily life of the inhabitants combines work, leisure, and well-being. Thanks to high incomes, low taxes, and economic stability, residents enjoy high-quality public services, education, healthcare, and cultural and sporting opportunities. Income tax in Liechtenstein ranges from 0 to a maximum of 24%, which, combined with low VAT, further enhances the well-being of the population. The alpine geography allows for activities such as skiing, hiking, and spas, maintaining an active and healthy lifestyle, and consolidating a widespread culture of well-being in the country. A culture of well-being with very sensual overtones, also when it comes to saunas and spas, as you will learn in more detail throughout the video. If you enjoyed learning these interesting facts, leave us a like and a comment, and don't forget to subscribe to Uncensored World if you haven't already done so to discover the world with us as you've never seen it before. Thank you. This has a lot to do with the small size of the country. With an area of just 160 square kilometers, Liechtenstein is smaller than many major cities around the world. For example, its size is comparable to cities such as Washington, Cadiz in Spain, or Querétaro in Mexico, but with beautiful mountainous landscapes that make it seem much larger. Thanks to its compact size, it is possible to drive across the entire country in less than 2 hours, traveling from north to south without missing any of the highlights. This makes every trip along its alpine roads quick, but full of stunning scenery and picturesque villages. Among the most beautiful natural sights is the Rhine Valley, a region of green meadows, rolling hills, and a beautiful crystal-clear river that runs through the entire country, offering spectacular views and the feeling of being in a fairy tale landscape. In the mountains, Malbon is a small mountain resort village surrounded by forests and snow-capped peaks, ideal for skiing in winter and hiking in summer, with trails that allow you to discover the local flora and fauna. When it comes to picturesque villages or places, the capital Vaduz is a must-see. From most of its streets you can see the medieval castle of Vaduz, which dominates the city from the top of the hill. Although it is one of the country's most emblematic symbols, it cannot be visited, as it remains the official residence of the princely family. Despite its restricted access to the public, the castle is fully illuminated at night, creating a spectacular view that can be enjoyed from various points in the city, making it a visual landmark that appears on virtually all postcards and photographs of Vaduz. Vaduz is also tiny, with a population of just 5,500, yet despite its size, it is the center of the country's administrative and cultural activity, including museums, art galleries, and international events. Liechtenstein is among the smallest countries in the world, ranking approximately 6th in terms of total area globally. As you have discovered, its size bears no relation to its beauty and potential, as this country is huge in terms of history, wealth, and curiosities. The standard of living in this country is extremely high, not only because of the wealth concentrated in such a tiny territory and for a privileged few, but also because Liechtenstein is one of the safest countries in the world. The crime rate is extremely low, and serious incidents are virtually non-existent. In fact, the last murder recorded in the country occurred around 1997, reflecting an unusual level of social stability and security. Thanks to this safe environment, residents often do not lock their doors at night, something that is almost unimaginable in many other places today. This tranquility contributes greatly to the quality of life, allowing people to live with less stress and fully enjoy their cultural, sporting, and recreational opportunities. A culture of well-being that may surprise you, as in this country, well-being goes far beyond anything you have known until now. In Liechtenstein, as in neighboring countries such as Switzerland and Germany, there is a tradition known as FKK, which stands for Freikörperkultur, or free body culture. This practice promotes acceptance of the human body and outdoor life without clothing, and is reflected in some resorts, spas, and saunas where visitors enjoy a relaxed and natural atmosphere without wearing clothes. For the inhabitants of this tiny country, FKK is not limited to nudity, but focuses on connection with nature, health, and physical and mental well-being. That is why in some saunas and spas in Liechtenstein, users tend to remain completely naked, following strict rules of hygiene and respect. This practice originated in the late 19th century in Germany, where it emerged as a movement to improve health and free the body from social taboos. Over time, it spread to neighboring countries, including Liechtenstein, where it was adopted as part of a philosophy of healthy living and relaxation. The spas offer thermal pools, steam saunas, and outdoor areas for sunbathing, always maintaining privacy and respect for others. In everyday life, this culture is reflected in how residents value health, exercise, and natural spaces. Many take advantage of their days off to go to local spas, pools, or saunas, always in a setting of tranquility and respect. Although it is an open and widespread practice, it is not a public spectacle. People consider it a form of self-care rather than a fad or trend. Even in shared spaces, reserved behavior is maintained, ensuring that everyone feels comfortable. Interestingly, this culture of clothing-free wellness coexists with a country that is quite conservative in other social aspects, as Liechtenstein has some fairly strict rules. For example, publicly insulting someone or using the toilet at night can be punished. That is why, although FKK, or clothing-free saunas, are well-known and common practices, they are also usually done privately and discreetly. Residents understand that privacy and tranquility are essential, and thus the country maintains its reputation as a safe and respectful place. This makes the culture of well-being something deeply valued and very unique, another aspect of Liechtenstein's identity that sets it apart from other countries. Another difference from most countries in the world is that, unlike most national teams, all Liechtenstein players are amateurs. This means that they combine their work or academic life with training and international matches, something practically unique in professional soccer. The main reason is that Liechtenstein does not have a fully professional league, and due to its small size, the availability of high-level players is very limited. So the national team relies on semi-professional or amateur players. Despite these limitations, the team has participated in official competitions and faced much larger and more established teams in Europe. Although it has never qualified for tournaments such as the European Championship or the World Cup, it has achieved surprising results in specific matches, including historic draws or victories against teams considered favorites. One of the most epic moments was on October 13, 2004, when Liechtenstein defeated Luxembourg 4-0 in a qualifying match for the 2006 World Cup, marking its first official victory in a FIFA qualifying round. This situation shows how such a small country can compete with the rest of the world without any problems. This national pride is reflected as never before in the country's most important and popular holiday, the national holiday, which is celebrated every August 15th. This day is a moment of unity for all inhabitants and symbolizes both the identity and history of Liechtenstein. Every August 15th on National Day, the Prince of Liechtenstein invites all residents to a celebration in the gardens of Vaduz Castle. This tradition began in the early 20th century as a way to bring the monarchy closer to the people and strengthen the sense of community in the small principality. An interesting fact is that, although the castle dominates the city from the top of the hill, it is always closed, and these gardens where the party is held are only open on this day, making the occasion a very special and eagerly awaited event for all Liechtensteiners. At this point, we would like to ask you, would you dare to practice the culture of well-being by bathing naked in spas or health resorts? Or would you prefer to earn the average income of the inhabitants of this country and pay their taxes? Do you think the national soccer team could one day beat your country's team? Pause the video and leave us your comment. Doing so is the best way you can help us grow and continue to create interesting content like this every week. Thank you. Returning to national pride, there is a fact that surprises many and caused great astonishment among the inhabitants and leaders of Liechtenstein themselves, and it is directly related to their flag. During the Olympic Games, they realized that their country's flag was identical to that of Haiti, a detail that had gone unnoticed since the flag's creation, but became very evident on the world stage. This discovery occurred in 1936, when the Liechtenstein delegation participated in the Olympic Games in Berlin. When the flag was displayed during the ceremony, organizers and athletes noticed that the colors and design matched those of Haiti exactly, causing confusion and some embarrassment for a country that prides itself on its identity. As a result, Liechtenstein decided to modify its flag to differentiate itself and reaffirm its uniqueness. A golden crown was added to the blue stripe, a symbol of the monarchy and the sovereignty of the principality. Since then, the flag not only distinguishes the country from Haiti, but has also become an emblem of national pride and history, reminding everyone how even a small detail can have great significance in a nation's international image. Something that few people know is that this country has no airport or train station, which makes access to it a little different from other nations. That is why all travelers arrive by car or bus, using the nearest international airports and train stations located in neighboring countries, Switzerland and Austria. In addition, bicycles are extremely popular among the inhabitants, reflecting a strong emphasis on sustainability and environmental awareness. The absence of an extensive public transportation system fits perfectly with Liechtenstein's small size and the ease of getting around on its roads and trails, reinforcing a lifestyle that prioritizes simplicity, efficiency, and respect for nature. At this point, you're probably wondering how to visit and enjoy Liechtenstein to the fullest, which, as you know, is not possible by direct flight. To get there, the most common route is to fly to the nearest international airports, such as Zurich in Switzerland or Munich in Germany, and then continue the journey by road or bus to Liechtenstein. These airports receive flights from virtually anywhere in the world, so it is possible to arrive from America, Asia, Africa, or any other continent without any major complications. As for visas, citizens of many countries, including the United States, Canada, Mexico, most South American countries, and much of Europe, do not need a visa for stays of up to 90 days for tourism or business. The official currency of the country is the Swiss franc, and as you may have guessed from its reputation as one of the richest places on the planet, Liechtenstein is considered an expensive country due to its high standard of living and the average income of its inhabitants. Once in the country, getting around is quite easy. The road network is excellent and journeys are short due to the small size of the territory, making travel by rental car or bus comfortable and efficient. For those who prefer a more active option, bicycles are very popular and allow you to explore the alpine landscapes at a more leisurely pace. The average price of a mid-range hotel room is around $250 to $300 per night. Dinner for two at a standard restaurant can cost between $150 and $200, while a beer costs approximately $8 and a coffee between $3 and $5. However, there are ways to enjoy the country more economically and still make the most of its beauty and culture. For example, You can opt for accommodation in campsites or guest houses, which significantly reduces costs. Shopping at local supermarkets to prepare meals is also an excellent option and allows you to enjoy the daily life of the residents. In addition, many natural attractions, such as trails, parks, and viewpoints, are free to access, allowing you to explore the country without spending too much. This combination of options shows that, although Liechtenstein is an expensive country, it is possible to enjoy its cultural and natural wealth with planning and a little creativity. At Uncensored World, we hope you enjoyed discovering Liechtenstein with us. If so, don't forget to like our video. It's the best way you can help us continue creating videos as interesting as this one, or this new video that follows, in which you can continue enjoying the most enigmatic and fascinating places on this beautiful planet called Earth. Click on it, you're going to enjoy it.